For many people, the COVID-19 pandemic has passed and is not given much thought or news coverage. Yet there's a growing number of people who have reported symptoms that have never left them. Many of them have had these symptoms for years. The Office of National Statistics estimates that over 2 million Britons have long COVID. You may have it, or you may know someone who is struggling with it. My name is Paul, and I've been debilitated by long COVID since January 22. In this podcast, I'm going to share my journey and things I've experienced along the way. My aim is not to give medical advice. I'm certainly not qualified to do that. But I've been gaslit, ridiculed and dismissed for my symptoms, and I know it can be a very lonely place to be. It's an invisible illness, and I just want people to know that they're not alone. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Life with Long COVID. My name is Paul Clark, I'm the host, and I'm joined this week again by Rachel Clark.
Hello.
My wife and significant other, who always brings some different insights as well. So it's always good to have her join me when she can for these episodes. It's been an interesting week. I hope this episode finds you well. I did something this week that I haven't done before. I haven't been brave enough to do before. Usually when we go, when there's big family trips involved, particularly when it involves public transport, I've bottled out of it in the past and I've sat at home. But this week, I ventured, didn't I, Rach, into doing it.
I know. It was amazing. You went to London, didn't you?
Yeah, we travelled to London and we used public transport. And I don't want to make every episode about mobility aids, but it's a big part of my life. So I'm going to talk about it because I had to decide, from Suffolk to London, I had to decide what mobility aid to use. And I decided in the end that the best mobility aid was possibly my eFoldy scooter, which you can look it up. But the only trouble with the eFoldy scooter is you cannot ride it onto the train. You've got to fold it up like a little suitcase it is. And it looks small and compact, but boy, is it heavy. And you know this, Rachel, because you very kindly volunteered to wheel it on and off for me, didn't you?
Yeah. So we went with our kids, our two youngest teenage children, and my son said he'd help me getting the thing off and on and off the train.
Yeah.
And we did, as we've talked about before, there was a lot of planning involved, wasn't there?
Oh, we tried to plan meticulously, and that's necessary because what I've learned over the time is that there's always things that happen that you can't plan for.
No. So we went to Covent Garden. We are lucky enough to be at a train station that's direct to London from Suffolk, so that's awesome. And we stopped at Stratford, which is a great station. Obviously, they held the Paralympics in 2012, so they're very wheelchair friendly.
They are. I've managed to rest the day before.
Yeah.
I was okay that day. And I think we negotiated it pretty well, actually.
And I think it helped also. We were meeting up with our friend Karen and, well, Rick wasn't there, unfortunately, and their two children who are our godchildren. So really good family friends.
Part of a bigger party, as it were.
Yeah. And
the eFoldy around London streets was fantastic. It's small, it's nimble, it's light. There's one incident which you can see if you sign up online, which was me in my eFoldy scooter. So I was just like, because it's so low, the eFoldy, all of a sudden I was surrounded by what looked like a school party or something. And even I was much smaller than any of the kids or the teenagers. And there were times during that trip, however good the eFoldy was, I just felt completely overwhelmed because you're just short and, you know, people don't really see you. Do you know what I mean? So I just felt really overwhelmed. But luckily that we were such a big group ourselves, that was few and far between. It made it over cobbles, it made it up and down curbs. There was nowhere I couldn't go in that scooter, and that was really good. Really good.
Yeah.
Success.
And we went on the I know I'm a bit of a transport nerd, but we went on
She's a train nerd.
We went on the Elizabeth line.
We did.
Got off a stop and didn't change for Covent Garden because we just thought it's better to walk for 12 minutes than negotiate an escalator.
Basically, Rachel was in charge of logistics, and it worked.
And I loved it. Yeah.
And everything except for holding the tickets. I had the tickets, didn't I? So we played to our strengths, and mine is basically keeping the tickets in my wallet, which was good. Which was good because at one point one of the teens lost theirs, but they didn't. But they thought they did. Anyway, it was a normal family trip. As you can hear, the dogs are agreeing with me. And I don't know, reflecting on it afterwards, it was a little bit stressful on the way home. So the problem is if you're trying to make a train at a certain time, you can't rush with mobility aids. So what we had to do was me and Rachel use the lifts at the station, and some of the lifts were incredibly slow. Some of the lifts took ages to come up, and some of the lifts we had to wait for because there was only one lift for the whole of the station. So the only challenge that we came up across were challenges that everybody with either a big buggy or a wheelchair have to face. And that is that the disability access in some of these places, even, international train stations, can be particularly an obstacle. They'll only have one lift, or there won't be anybody around to help. And people don't help either, Rach, do they? Because there was a couple of occasions where through the ticket barriers, like for example, there were wide ticket barriers for people that could go through, and
clearly labelled with a wheelchair.
People would just try to go through them themselves without having a wheelchair or a buggy or anything, and of course they'd get stuck, and then I was stuck because I can't go through any other ticket barrier. Whereas they can go through any ticket barrier, they just chose the one that I could only go through. And they don't seem to understand that, it'd be really nice just to make way.
But you know what, Paul? I think I might have done that in the past.
I might have done that.
If I had a suitcase or something.
Yeah, true.
I noticed that at Stratford. So Stratford's got a lot of lifts on every platform, but it's only got one lift per platform. And there was a massive queue, and there were people with those wheelie suitcases, and I thought, you know what, you could just pick up your suitcase and walk down the stairs.
Yes.
And actually I only looked like a wheelie suitcase, but really it was a scooter folded up. It was heavy. Really heavy. If it fell, it would have been broken. I would have got injured.
It's a very heavy thing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's good to wheel.
I appreciated you wheeling it, but really and honestly, it is doable, don't get me wrong, but it's not without its problems. Yeah. And the other problem I had was that the e-fold is not very comfortable if you're in it all the time. I've got a padded seat, which is like an optional extra you buy for 35 quid. Blimey, it all adds up. Which is like a memory foam dimpled cushion, which is really good. You think, oh, that's really comfortable, until an hour hits, and then you're like, my back's actually
Did you start getting hurt?
Yeah, so I was quite pleased to be able to sit on the train seat or a bar stool in where we were somewhere to eat. On reflection, we're going to try next time, and we're going to have a trip to Norwich, and I'm going to try to use the wheelchair. Now, the downside of the wheelchair is that getting on and off trains requires a ramp where we live, and I have to have booked passenger assistance. The first time I've ever done this, right? So I've booked passenger assistance so somebody was meant to meet me there with a ramp and let me on. Whether they will or not, I've got no idea. I've got visions of you lots going off and me being left on the platform or stuck on a train, and you go off to Norwich and I'll still be there when you get back, having gone around the country a few times. I don't know. So yeah, but we'll see. I'm going to blog it all, so we'll be able to report back next week on that. But the good thing is the wheelchair is comfortable. I can sit in it for a long time, and I don't really need to move out of that if I don't want to.
No.
In Norwich or on the train, so it should be all right.
It's like a moving armchair, that thing, isn't it?
I love it. Yeah, it really is. I feel like it is a moving armchair as well. It needs a little footrest that comes up like a recliner. I bet some of them do. I bet some have got that. So, yeah, that's mobility aids.
On the way home, we met a gentleman in a wheelchair, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
I think he was not, I've forgotten what you call it, ambulant, is that right?
No, I don't think he was.
No, he was
I know you never asked, but...
Of course not. It's none of our business.
No.
But he was like giving us tips, because there's to open the doors on Anglia trains, there's a lower button, and it has got a symbol of a wheelchair on, and you're like, why?
I've never seen that before.
But it brings out a little lip so that you can smoothly ride off.
I've never noticed it.
No.
I wouldn't have noticed it if it wasn't for him.
No.
So
it's kind of the button a little kid would have pressed, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Because it's lower.
So I think the community, they look out for each other. We do.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I need to, and I will pay that forward when I get the opportunity, when I'm all wise. I know where all his buttons do and how to get on and everything. Yeah, so that was my day out, and long COVID wise has been, I think I've paced myself fairly well. We're in Easter holidays here because we've got 2 teenage children, so we're trying to pace my energy levels. But I did have an occupational health visit.
Yes.
Which, do you know, can I have a rant for a minute?
Yes.
Because I'll caveat with the fact that occupational therapists do a great job. There's a need for it, and I totally understand what they're there to do. And this particular occupational health therapist was there to assess me for a wheelchair, which is great. It's fantastic, and I really appreciated some of the insights which she gave me. But I find occupational therapists always overly keen, like almost like they're trying to justify their job. Do you know what I mean? And they're always like, she was with me for over 2 hours, and I was tired after an hour. And the questions like, is the sofa too high to get up of, and going to the toilet, is that all right? And all of those things which are pertinent questions. But I don't want to go through it all again and again. Do you know, I've been through all this before, and I wasn't there for that. I was there to talk about a wheelchair, and like what they don't realise, or maybe they do, but they have to do it anyway, is that talking about the things you can't do for a couple of hours is a really negative, upsetting way to spend your time. Do you know what I mean? Like when else are we going to sit down and think, right, I want you to think through all your limitations, all the things you can't do, and that's what it's like, basically.
Yeah, so it's physically and emotionally tiring.
It's mostly emotionally tiring.
Yeah.
Like they watch you go up and down stairs and that, and I'm like, I'm ambulant, and if I'm not having a really bad day, I'll just walk up and downstairs like anybody else. If I'm having a tired day, I might have to go up on my hands and knees, but that they never come on those days. Like it's sod's law, they come around when you're feeling all right. And you're also like on different levels, so you're also thinking, you know, oh, maybe I feel like a bit of a fraud, do you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So it works on all these different levels, but basically I don't want to go through another occupational health assessment, even if it means me not getting stuff, because like all these different organisations want them, and I really do appreciate those organisations, but there's no kind of centralised system there.
If only there was a file with your name on saying
this
is
guy
what
needs
Paul can
this,
do,
he's been assessed for this, and like, but no, everyone needs their own assessment, and you end up having to go through, how crap am I, 2 hours. I know it's not that, but I'm just telling you that's how it feels.
That sounds really hard, Paul.
Yeah, it was hard, and I vowed I'm not doing it again for at least a while. and I've been through it, like, because financially we're not good, because I've had to give up work, and with that the house. So it's a long story. You'd have to go back through previous episodes. But every benefit I've applied for, every grant that I've been lucky enough to apply for, I've had to really work hard to get it. And if anybody ever says that people are just pretend to be disabled for the money, is nonsense, because the money is rubbish. You wouldn't do it. I could put in half the effort and probably get back much more money for something different.
Yeah, if you had a job, it would be easier.
And B, you have to go for these grueling assessments. And this last week I had an assessment, about 2 weeks ago, I had an assessment for something called industrial injuries benefit, and I think I talked about it on that episode, but I got the results back this week, and I in some ways I disagree with the outcome of it, because they measure the percentage of how disabled you are, which is ridiculous. But I do not want to go through that assessment again, and that's what I'm sure they bank on. I'm sure they scale it down so that, because you can't face another assessment. The whole thing is set up to save government as much money as they possibly can. Is not set up, or it doesn't feel to me like it's set up, to give as much help as they can.
And isn't that crazy? Because if they gave you help, if they said, look, here is a big chunk of money. I know money doesn't grow on trees.
Or to buy me the things I need.
Yeah, and then and to help you, if they spent that money to help you, you're more likely to be able to get back into work.
And contribute to the wider economy.
So how silly is that?
That's what they want, surely.
Yeah.
And I'm this week, I'm tired of assessments, whether it be occupational health, benefits people or whatever, even doctors. I'm fed up with doctors because it's potluck as to which one you get. Fed up with being looked at like it's all in my head or whatever. I'm fed up with being sent for appointments knowing that they're just going to come back as negative. The whole thing. That's my rant for this week. I'm done with. I've prodded and questioned. I'm done with. I need a few months off that, even if it means I have to miss out on something, or we do. On the positive side, though, I have been managing my energy levels much better this week, and I've talked about the visible armband. I've been using it now for a few months, and I'm having a few months off now, and because I don't think, again, I'm not affiliated with Visible, but once you learn how to manage your energy, you don't need to stick so rigidly to that system, if that makes sense. I know how much at the moment I can push myself and how much I can't.
Are you saying the visible armband has taught you how much energy you have to expand on a day? It's done its job. Yeah.
But I don't need to continue to subscribe to something. I probably will go back because my symptoms change.
That's true, yeah.
So I've got the bad, and I'll go back to it later. But it's done its job, and I feel like I've been doing all right at that lately. I feel like I've been doing well. I think I've had more energy when I've needed to have more energy, and I've saved it up and stored it up like a bank. So it's pretty good. So that's been my week. I'd love to hear how your week is going, because it's just so great to get feedback. And you can do that. You can click on the link in the show notes. I say show notes, it's basically wherever you find this podcast, wherever you download it from. There's some notes there which tells you what's going on in that episode, but also a link you can click on where you can subscribe to receive written posts and these podcast updates to your email inbox. And you can either do that for free, or you can support by giving a few quid a month, whatever you can do. The other thing you can do is, so that's something you can do to read articles and listen to the podcast, but also, as we touched on last week, it's a great way of connecting with other long COVID sufferers, and we do that via chat and stuff.
And you want to hear more questions as well.
Questions
or ponderings
or
your contributions. Like, you might have been on a train journey.
You might be able to give me some wisdom on that.
You may see occupational therapists in a different way. You may be an occupational therapist, and you can give your point of view.
You can rant at me. I totally get that, and I'll take it.
But that's what we want, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
You want a conversation.
We do. Because the symptoms of long COVID is so unique to each person. It affects people differently. So, we want to hear from you. And if you can, just give the podcast a review as well on whatever platform you're listening on. That really helps.
And I think you understand, don't you, Paul, what privileged position you are in to be able to go to London. Do you know what I mean?
Just
some people with long COVID are.
I'm privileged to be able to record a podcast about it. There's so many pluses there.
And some people are still in the stage where, getting up and having a shower is like a massive achievement, and that's what you need to take it as, a massive achievement, because everyone's symptoms are different, like you say.
It's a win. Everything's a win. Every day is a win, basically. Even if all you can do is open your eyes for a minute, and and read something or do something,
Yeah.
it's a win. It's a complete win. So whatever you're doing this week, please do take care. I hope, as always, that you find some joy in what you're doing, and if you need to use mobility aids, that you continue to learn from the wisdom of others, and maybe you're in a position where you can pay it forward as well. So until next time, I'll see you again soon.